Hey everyone, today we're going to take a brief look at the Kayn Somos Villain Pack for the Imperial Assault game. We're going to go through these components and try and figure out how useful they are and see if we can help you decide whether or not you want to add this pack to your collection. So first off, who is Kayn Somos? Well, he's actually completely made up for the purpose of this game. Full stop. However, inside the Imperial Assault lore, which as far as I can tell, stays true to the canon, he is a ruthless stormtrooper commander who runs the stormtrooper training facility on Morvo Godine, someone please correct me on that pronunciation, which has a training regime notorious for matching its commander's viciousness. He lives and dies by the Empire and is a loyal soldier who bolsters the troopers around him and will lay his life down on the line. Kayn Somos first appears in the Twin Shadows campaign in up to 4 missions. He can technically appear in your core campaign using the same red hero mission, a gray mission, and up to 3 different agenda set missions, all of which require map tiles from the Twin Shadows expansion box. So you can't technically have Kayn Somos in your core campaign without owning the Twin Shadows expansion. However, his skirmish mission only requires core box map tiles. There are 10 total cards in this patch, which will require 3 yellow and 7 green FFG sleeves. So now let's take a look at the various components you'll find in this villain pack, starting with the Kayn Somos figure, which is used to replace the token included in the Twin Shadows expansion. So I feel this is a very well done figure. I think it's a robust version of a stormtrooper. It's a good combination of a stormtrooper and an Imperial officer, obviously directing, but with a blaster, ready to join the fight. So it's very inspiring. It's true to his abilities and his background story. I think that FFG did a good job incorporating everything that you're looking for into this. However, it seems like it was just basically, at the same time, as far as painting goes, a glorified stormtrooper in a different pose with a little patch on the shoulder there for you to add a color to. Depends which angle you want to look at it from. 3 command cards, including rank and file, which is usable by a trooper at the start of their activation to give themselves and a friendly trooper adjacent to them 1 movement point. Squad Swarm, which is used after activating a group. You may immediately activate another ready group with the same name. However, the combined cost of both groups cannot exceed 15. And then Rally the Troops, which is Kayn's card himself, which allows him to use an action to ready a deployment card of a trooper within 3 spaces. There's also a skirmish upgrade card included called Rule by Fear. This allows you to draw 2 command cards at the start of your first round, then discard 1 card in your hand. The skirmish missions, which take place at the Tython Meditation Field, where one objective has players playing hot potato with mission tokens that can buff your figure while you jostle for control over force pillars to gain victory points. The second objective allows you to secretly pick a group to buff with 2 activations per round while you fight for control of the force pillars, but at a cost of making them worth double victory points upon defeat. The agenda deck, Stormtrooper Support, which includes military presence, that for 1 influence allows you to add a stormtrooper group to any mission that allows an open group. Or you can use perpetual reinforcements, which allows you to immediately deploy a defeated trooper figure with a reinforcement cost of 3 or less. And lastly, the agenda mission, Stormtrooper Support, which has the rebels attacking the notorious Morvo Godine Stormtroopers training facility in an attempt to put a stop to its peacekeeping missions, quotation marks. Successfully completing this mission or having your rebels choose any other mission once this is presented will allow you to bring Kayn Somos into any future mission that allows an open group. So the last part of this component pack is the Kayn Somos deployment card. 10 threat to deploy for 12 health is one of the few times we see more health than deployment costs with the villain. He is pretty slow though at 4 speed, but rolls 2 blues and a green, so he has range. He has 3 surge abilities he can utilize, such as adding a damage, piercing 1 block, or squad command, which allows Somos to choose an adjacent friendly trooper to become focused. He can also use an action for firing squad, which lets him choose up to 2 adjacent friendly troopers to perform an attack targeting the same figure. Pretty straightforward, powerful stormtrooper that boosts those around them. So with all that said, is he useful? Well, let's take a look at the campaign first. In a campaign storyline, I'd say Somos, he's a lot of fun to use, and he can be very deadly with his firing squad and squad command surge ability, especially for heavy stormtroopers, or as we get into Hoth with the snow troopers, and more options open up, and there will be more options down the road with him. But on his own, he isn't very powerful. He hits for about the same as a focused stormtrooper, and he has less combined health than elite stormtroopers for one more threat. That being said, if you can set him up, he has a lot of use, but it will take a lot of careful planning. And if you obsess over getting it perfect, you will get caught and take a lot of damage. If you can learn to adapt with him and use his stormtrooper perks when the situation arises, he is more relevant, but without any built-in defense outside of his black die, he is a bit of a punching bag. The agenda deck for me as Imperial is, again, split down the middle. You have to add this into your set of 6 if you want to bring him into an open campaign. So you are sacrificing what could potentially be a better agenda deck again. So I don't see a lot of use into adding a Stormtrooper card to your open groups. Maybe if this card could be used more than once, and if you had Somos as a reward with you, it would make a lot more sense. I do like perpetual reinforcements, however, because adding a trooper back immediately has great potential. But again, it's a one-time use. I don't know if it could be the TSN turning point. So to add this agenda to your deck, you really are just going after Somos. And to me, that seems like a lot to give up for one agenda deck. That being said, I don't know what it is, but I am personally intrigued by him. I like playing with Stormtroopers, so if you are like me and you enjoy the Imperial Army-ish soldier-type feel to a campaign, then he might end up being a lot of fun for you. His threat affordability might actually make you use him more than some of the other villains as well, because for 10 threat, you might see him play in there more. And remember, not only are you potentially gaining Somos, but you are taking away a side mission slot from the Rebels. And sometimes, honestly, that's worth the 3 influence on its own. As far as skirmish goes, he's slow and he doesn't do a lot of damage. However, he has good range and he has a decent hit point count for the threat cost. But in a skirmish situation, I think that no one's going to argue that 3 elite stormtroopers will be more useful for your team than Somos. As far as buying the pack for the command cards goes, well, being able to bring in an already activated trooper card, that's pretty useful. But the fact that Somos won't make your list anyway makes his personal command card irrelevant. Rank and file can help you get a little closer to that objective. Sometimes that one movement point is huge, let's face it, but is it worth the 1 point in your command deck? Squad Swarm is a hidden gem here for me. Especially considering the meta right now with a lot of trooper swarms. Being able to activate 2 trooper groups in a row could potentially change a mission, or it's at least going to put you in a position to have a giant leg up over an objective with your enemy. However, that I think for skirmish, Rule by Fear is the most useful part of his whole pack, because getting a chance at a few extra command cards, especially at the start, could be a big momentum builder. So buying this pack for skirmish mode, you might look more at the cards than Somos himself. So is this pack worth buying? For the campaign, this is a flat out no. Unless you're obsessed with Stormtroopers. This is one villain that, given his 10 threat, he might actually be usable on a repeatable basis. But he's also the most boring and weak, in my opinion. And hopefully the most weak we're going to see. Even a Stormtrooper crazy Imperial like myself, I find it hard to work him in. But for skirmish, I think you only go after this pack if you want a shot at the command cards and or Rule by Fear. Otherwise, there are a lot better options out there for your list, like say a group of elite stormtroopers. So there you go. Rule by Fear plus a group of elite stormtroopers equals the same cost as Somos, and you're already probably more effective in your list. So that's a better start. But after all of this, if you are still on the fence, you got to remember that a figure is always better than a token. Thanks for watching. I really hope it was helpful. Again, it's just meant to be a brief intro into the character, a bit of a visual tour of the components with a bit of opinion mixed in there. But if you really want to look up some more useful information on Kayn Somos and Twin Shadows, or just Imperial Assault in general, I highly recommend you check out the pros, boardwars.eu or at Vader's Finest podcast over at Team Covenant. You don't have to choose. You can look at both, I promise. So thanks again, everyone. I really appreciate you watching this, and take care.